Hi, I'm Dave Wurzel, and you're watching PHTV4. This is Police Update. And Police Update today, we have a special opportunity to meet a new officer on the Palos Heights Police Department force, and that is Officer Joseph Walker.
Hi.
Officer Walker, thank you for being here this morning, and welcome to Palos Heights.
Thank you for having me.
You know, your background is really interesting. I want to make sure we cover all that. It's a chance for us to meet somebody new to Palos Heights, new to the force, but your background in police work, in your college, and your military career, I mean, you've got an extensive background. So maybe if we could start there, and I'm going to ask about what your responsibilities are with the police department, but can you talk about your background, your path into law enforcement?
Absolutely. So I started off with graduating from Crete Monee High School in 2015, where I got my general studies. That's actually where I grew up in Crete, Illinois. From there, I went on to college at Northern Illinois University, and I got my bachelor's degree in sociology with a minor in psychology and a certificate in criminology. And then a couple of days after that, I decided, I wanted to help serve my country, and I enlisted in the United States Army, where I served as a geospatial engineer. In layman's terms, I commanded to make maps and, help them plan stuff on the battlefield. I was also part of the 82nd Airborne Division, so as well as making maps, I did jump out of airplanes for a living as well.
There's a lot of impressive things on there. I don't know what to hold on to first. I know I would like to ask, you mentioned the criminology at Northern Illinois. So when you were at Northern, even though you went into the service next, did you have an idea that ultimately law enforcement is where you thought you would end up?
Yes, sir. Yes. My father was actually a police officer for a little time before I was born. And I've always, had great experiences and great encounters with the police officers in my neighborhood and community. And, I did think that, long term, I did eventually see myself as becoming a police officer.
Okay. All right. And then how did you, you went into the military, became a police officer, but you didn't come to Palos Heights right away. You were...
Yes, so I actually, I did in fact start with the Bloomington Police Department in Bloomington, Illinois, Southwest, near Normal and Illinois State University. While I was at the academy training to become a police officer, had an unfortunate event occur at my brother's home where I was residing in Elwood. His home was struck by a tornado. And instead of, my wife and I relocating to Bloomington, we decided to stay at home and, help my brother with the damages. And at that time, the Bourbonnais Police Department in Bourbonnais, Illinois, was hiring. So I did a transfer in academy from Bloomington to Bourbonnais. Okay. And then from that time, I was with Bourbonnais for about a year. But I didn't, nothing against, Bourbonnais Police Department, but I didn't see myself there long term. And that's when I sought out Palos Heights, and, I wanted to make this place my home, so I applied, and, thankfully I was hired, and here I am.
Well, we're thankful to have you here, especially with your background. That is really incredible, your story, your path here. You also mentioned the sociology, psychology background at DeKalb. So we have a great crisis intervention team program here. Are you interested in, is that part of the draw?
Absolutely. When I was in school, we during some of the classes that we took, it emphasized on being able to speak to people who were having a quote-unquote crisis, meaning, sometimes the people we encounter may not be in the right state of mind, or
right.
They may be having a bad day, and we're taught of, ways of communicating that may not, agitate them or make them feel as if they're not being heard. Because what I've learned in my time as being a police officer, I know it's a short amount of time, but I feel like people just want to be heard. And if you can take that second to just listen and understand where they're coming from, I feel like that goes a long way, especially in policing. Yeah,
that'll help diffuse or de-escalate.
Absolutely.
Or help you arrive at a more peaceable
Absolutely.
Conclusion. I would say you've been an officer maybe a short time, but your background through the military and college has certainly, I'm sure, delivered a lot of experience for you. The crisis intervention team is interesting. I don't know if that's related to when you talked about like where you see yourself, and hopefully you have a long and wonderful career in Palos Heights. Do you see yourself as an officer, like that's the path that you want to be on? Do you see yourself, like crisis intervention, that's where I want to devote myself, or detective? Are there other interests you have related to law enforcement?
I definitely could see myself as a part of the crisis intervention team. I say that because I enjoy talking to people and getting to know them, and I enjoy telling people about my life story and my background, and just hearing different perspectives of life, like how this person may have gotten to where they've gotten, and you know, just the experiences that they've had in life, because everybody's experience is different. And I just feel like it just goes a long way in policing. I know that, you know, we're kind of in a interesting time when it comes to policing, you know, with what's going on in the world, and I just want to be a part of that difference, you know, and making people feel welcome when the police come.
It's a very interesting point, because I think the perception of law enforcement, there's a traditional perception, and then I think there's a kind of a new model, you know, showing up on the scene over the last several years that is more like what the crisis intervention team works as a philosophy.
Absolutely.
Right? All right, one more question specifically related to your duties. So you've been on the job here for about a month or so, is that
Yes,
right?
about that.
What does a typical day look like for you, or aren't there typical days?
Oh, so honestly, I would say with one thing I've learned about being a police officer is you have to be fluid. You don't really have like a typical day.
Right.
But I like to start off by, you know, obviously doing equipment checks, making sure all my equipment is up to date and in order, checking our squad vehicle and making sure it's operable and ready for the day. And normally I'll start off with doing school crossings, depending on, you know, the day of the week, you know, whether it being weekdays or weekends. And then just, you know, responding to calls for service, you know, regulating traffic and, you know, enforcing the law and, you know, and helping people out. I feel like that's the typical day-to-day job that I've seen with the month.
It sounds like a full plate, and it's a very diverse plate. I mean, there's a lot of different types of things going on in that day. And obviously, yeah, make sure everything works on you and in your vehicle, and yeah. All right, those were all the easy questions. You ready to get serious now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How about this? When you were little, when you were in grade school, what did you want to be when you grew up?
So when I was in grade school, I wanted to be a lawyer.
Really?
It was my parents' idea. They thought that a lawyer would be a best fit for me because I love to debate. I would debate about the sky being blue, knowing it was blue, but I would still find a way to debate. During the time, I just, you know, realized that, you know, I didn't really enjoy it as much as I thought. Obviously, my inspiration came from watching, you know, Law and Order and TV shows, thinking, but obviously being a lawyer is a lot more complex than that. So
I like the image of little Joseph, though, debating with his parents about anything, right?
Yeah, my parents look back and they smile now, but they weren't smiling back then.
How about, I'm guessing, you know, I can imagine, you know, the challenges, physical and mental, emotional, in the service of being an officer, the different situations you have to deal with. When you get a chance to take a vacation or recharge, how do you do that?
So normally, if I am unable to, you know, relocate to a different state or country, I like to just spend time at home with my family, you know, or have conversations with my wife. You know, we love to talk and hear each other's perspective on, you know, analyze, you know, how we feel on viewpoints. But if I had to go somewhere, I did enjoy when we went, you know, for our honeymoon, we went to Dominican Republic, and that was my first time out of country, and I enjoyed every second of it. It was just the vibe, the people that gave, and the different, you know, the way a different community, you know, lives is just exciting to see and be a part of a different type of culture.
Expands the worldview, too,
Absolutely.
I'm sure. I do, talking about being able to talk with your wife and the day-to-day rush of things, probably to not have to rush off to work, or you're tired because you got home late, or whatever the thing is, that you can just sit down and enjoy a day together.
Right.
That can be a great vacation.
Absolutely.
How about this? So you're invited to speak at a career day at a high school, and you're going to talk to students about a career in law enforcement. What would be some advice you would share with a high school student?
I would initially tell high school students to not join this profession for the money. You have to want to serve, and you have to want to help, and you have to, you know, be able to put yourself behind someone else, because our job is to serve and protect the people, you know, our community, and, you know, people can't protect themselves. So I would say don't look at it as a job just to get paid. Look at this as a job to do something better and make a difference in this world.
Yeah, you want to provide that type of service relationship with your community.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's a wonderful philosophy to, you know, hopefully young people take that to heart if they get a chance to hear that message. How about this? We'll spin it a little bit forward. This could almost be you, but now that you've been on the job, you were in Bourbonnais and now you're here. If you were working with a rookie officer on the job, you know, they're going out their first day, their first week on the job, what advice would you give to somebody brand new to the profession?
I would tell them just take each just take each shift day by day, and understand that, you know, you're going to have some good days in this job. you're going to make some people's days, and then you're going to have bad days where you may have to stay late. You may deal with people that may not like what you're doing, or you
Right.
may not be able to, get them to like you, and that's okay. It's part of the job, and I would just say, just take it day by day, and if you ever feel like you're in, like backed in a corner and you don't know what to do, just talk about it. One thing that I've learned in this profession is if you boil stuff and hold it inside you, it doesn't do anything good for
Yeah.
anyone. It's best to, if you feel like you're dealing with something or you're having issues, just talk to it. Talk to
Yeah.
us, talk to your family, talk to someone you trust.
Yeah, it sounds like a healthier way so that you can function as a
Absolutely.
husband, as a family member,
Absolutely.
and with your friends, and do your job. It's a lot going on.
Exactly.
How about this? All right, we're going to say that this is the dream job. You finally landed. This is the career you want, the place you want to be. But if this wasn't the dream job, what would the other dream job be? Maybe it was a lawyer. I'm not sure.
Oh, no, probably not a lawyer anymore. I would say if I couldn't be a police officer with the Palos Heights Police Department, I would say something along in the field with animals. I love animals. I think my family gets annoyed about it because, I'm always talking about different types of animals and their characteristics and traits. I did at a point in time consider the idea of a marine biologist, but
Wow.
I don't really like water like that, so I was like, I'm probably not dealing with the
But
sea
animals in some fashion.
Yes, I love animals. I worked at PetSmart for a little bit during my time in college, and I was a dog bather, so I got to encounter with a lot of different dogs and cats, and I enjoyed every second of it.
Do you have pets at home now?
I do not yet. I'm currently waiting to save up to get a fence, and then I eventually do want to get a dog. I do want to get a Doberman. That's been my dream dog to get, and I want to train him to be a service dog to, protect my family and protect me.
Okay. All right. I didn't see the marine biologist coming up or the animal, but still, I was seeing sociology, psychology, lawyer. Okay. Well, maybe that dream job will show up at some point.
Maybe. I mean,
or as a part-time
yeah, maybe
gig.
just a hobby. Or a hobby.
How about any advice or tips you want to just throw out there in general as an officer now speaking to the community?
Yeah, I would say to the community to just understand that policing is changing. I'm hoping it's for the better, and just as it is our job to stay fluid, it is the community's job as well to just stay fluid and understand that nothing is personal. We all have a job to do, and be patient with us. We hope that we're patient with you guys and be understanding of us, and we hope that we are understanding with you guys as well.
I think that's wonderful advice, and again, working in both directions.
Right.
Right, yeah. Joseph, thank you for coming in this morning. Officer Walker, it was wonderful to meet you. I hope you have a great career in Palos, and we're, seeing you here for a long time.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, sir.
Thank you. I'm Dave Worsley. You've been watching Police Update. We've been talking with Palos Heights Police Officer Joseph Walker. Thank you for watching.